Hi guys, Aceface back with another video for you, and this is the next part in my Road to the Las Vegas Open 2016, sponsored by Wargames. And today I want to have a little look at another one of the key units within my two towel lists, as I think it'd be quite interesting for you to kind of get an idea of why I'm taking them, why I'm investing so many points in them, how I use them, and potentially for yourselves how you can take them down and how you can use them most effectively. Before I get started, I just want to say a big thank you to all the new subscribers that have jumped on. Really appreciate you being here. I'm chuffed to bits that we've had a bit of a surge, so thank you for taking the trip over and pressing that subscribe button. And as always, thanks to the guys that have stuck around. My subs are the best, so thank you very much guys. Right, I'm going to jump into this video. So today I'm going to talk about the Y'vahra Battlesuit, which is by far my favourite towel unit. It is a Forge World unit, and it is still experimental rules, but most tournaments, even big tournaments, are coming around to the fact that experimental rules is not what it used to be. Experimental rules is basically just Forge World haven't yet released a book to put them in. They're not going to change the rules, or they have no plans to change the rules, but they're not currently in a book, so they're down as experimental. And even with that, now the newer units that are coming out are losing that experimental rules title. So if you look at the new big towel super heavy, it's not experimental rules, just standard. Here are the rules, this is what it's going to be until we put it in a book. So it's clear that Forge World have made it very clear that they want these guys just to be used as normal units. So straight away, try and distance yourself from the old attitude of, oh, it's experimental rules, it's going to change. They're not. They're set, they're staying as they are. And particularly obviously with me playing in the ITC, they are accepted, they were voted in by the ITC, and experimental rules are here at the moment, and I expect will be here to stay. So the Y'vahra Battlesuit is 230 points. It is basically a Riptide, with some exceptions. Now the exceptions are, it has one wound less than a Riptide, but it has a better ballistic skill, so it goes up to ballistic skill 4, which a lot of the time is not needed so much, as we'll talk about in a minute. It has a very different Nova charge chart. It can take pretty much the same upgrades. It doesn't have secondary weapons, it's set with the weapons that it's got. It has the standard 2-up save, but it does have a nice little juicy invuln that does increase if you're close up. So if you are within 12 inches of your opponent, then the invuln save goes up to a 4-up, and that also includes in close combat as well. So that's really, really handy. But probably, well, I would say by far the biggest thing that this guy has is his weapons combined with his movement. So the Y'vahra can move every other turn as a flying monstrous creature. So he just does it for the phase, not for the turn. A lot of people get confused and think that he's a swooping monstrous creature for the turn and people will be snap shooting against him. That's not the case. He does it for the phase, and at the end of the phase he just becomes a regular jump monstrous creature from then on. But it does mean that he can move up to 24 inches, which is really handy for that alpha strike and also forcing your opponent's deployment. So he can jump up 24. Obviously next turn he won't be doing that jump again, but he also has his jetpack move in the assault phase, so he can then jump further potentially or jump back into cover if you need to after he's done damage. He has two weapons. One is a very, very nice flamer. So it is a half torrent, so unlike your standard torrent which you measure out 12 inches, this you measure out 6 inches and then it's a torrent. But it can be overcharged for 2 torrents, and also when it overcharges it goes from being strength 6 AP3 to strength 6 AP2. It does go to it gets hot, but it is then 2 Torrent Flamers at strength 6 AP2, which is really, really, really good. Its secondary weapon is it has an ionic discharge cannon, which again, very short range, 12 inches, but it's strength 8 and it's AP3, but it is heavy 3 and it is blind, and it is also haywire burst. Now the big thing with the haywire burst is when you shoot it at something, it does its haywire shots as well as resolving the strength 8 hits as well. So it's quite complicated if you're not used to using it, but basically against vehicles, the best way of thinking about it is this guy is pretty much doing double damage against mech, which is really good. So quite a lot of the time, particularly if it's hitting something that is something that's got 3 hull points, it's almost always dead from a Y'vahra. 4, sometimes they can hang in there, but generally if it has 3 hull points, it's dead straight away. If the Y'vahra's in range, it's dead. That's how good this guy is. He also, his Nova Charge allows him then to make that even better by being 3 plus D3, which is pretty cool. He also has a nice little additional attack that quite honestly I always forget to use, but when he jumps down after his big leap, he can do a flashette dispersal pod attack, which is anyone within 6 inches, you nominate the unit and they take D6 strength 4 AP5 shred hits, which again is quite a nice little thing to have. Some other little goodies with this guy. So he has what's called an escape thrust, and before I even talk to you about this, bear in mind when you're thinking about this, this guy actually has hit and run. Now he only has initiative 2, to be fair, so majority of the time he's not going to be able to hit and run, but I tell you what, the amount of times I make that 2 is crazy. It's ridiculous. Ask Idic Beer if you're not sure. But what he has is he also has his escape thrust. So basically he can Nova Charge and then he can actually jump out of wherever he is, and he goes into ongoing reserves. So that's awesome if you're getting bogged down in combat, even if you're holding your own and you just don't want to be there. Use that Nova Charge and then take off the board. Absolutely awesome. Absolutely incredible. He also can Nova Charge to give himself a free up invuln in close combat, which is good. Obviously that's not as good as a normal Riptide because they can have the free up against everything. This is obviously just in close combat. So yeah, that is the Y'vahra battlesuit. So how do I use him? Well, I use this guy to basically be that alpha strike unit and to try and force my opponent's deployment, because they know that this guy has got that range, that he's going to jump up and he's going to destroy anything that's within range, within reason. They will have to deploy a lot more defensively than they would normally. That's huge. That's really huge, because that will change the way that your opponent is thinking about their first turn. So I jump them up. I will target generally something with this. So in standard games, he's your almost guaranteed first blood hitter, because whether there's that mobile transport, whether there's that scout unit, wherever it might be, he's the one that will pretty much always guarantee to get there and kill that unit. So I use him predominantly for that. He also, if they've got very offensive units that they want to do the alpha strike with, quite often I will counter that by again just giving them that option that if I get first turn, these guys are going to rip house out because they're going to annihilate that unit, which proves very effective. And then what I do is, because they're up in their face, they have to deal with them. So for a massive point sink at 230 points, a lot more when you put upgrades on there, that's a unit that I use as almost a sacrificial suicide squad. Now that might sound crazy, but you will be surprised just how much damage these guys are able to take and keep kicking. That means that the rest of your army is pretty much safe for that first turn. Now yes, if you lose a Riptide, it does hurt 100%, but a lot of the time you don't, and if you don't, they're in big trouble, because then they've probably got close to the guy, and also they probably killed nothing else that turn. So it generally works out worthwhile, and a lot of people, most armies in fact, do in fact struggle to kill these things in one turn of shooting. And if they do, they need to direct majority of their shooting at him. And the reason is, obviously we spoke about the 4-up invon within 12 inches. A lot of time you are that close because of that turn 1 jump. Also, you always give him feel no pain. Now you give him feel no pain because on the whole you want to overcharge the guy most turns, and also he's only got the 4 wounds rather than the 5, and you do not want to be losing his wounds straight away. So feel no pain gives that overcharge a lot more safety, but also it means that he makes him so much more resilient when he's being shot at. Having that extra save, having a good invon followed by a feel no pain is really good. So that's how I do. I jump them up, and then I literally then just take that, do some damage, and then take the shooting. If he's still alive, then they're in trouble. If he goes down, then probably find the rest of your army is unhurt, and you can go from there. I use him to really mess with my opponent's thinking, because if anyone's played them, they know how dangerous they are. Every player that I've played with the Y'vahra battlesuit, they know what they're up against, and they are worried straight away from the start, which is why I run 2 in my list that almost certainly I will take to the Las Vegas Open. So how do you deal with these guys? So if I was going up against a Y'vahra, how do you deal with it? Now, the best way to go with a Y'vahra is something where you can hit it in combat. So what you want to do is make sure that you've got a wide spread of units that are all along around the same sort of area, so when it jumps up, you know it's going to kill 1 unit, but you've got lots of other units to counter that and to jump in and assault him. You do need something that's AP2, because yes, it's still got a 4-up invon, but the AP2 will take away that 2-up save, and then you can start doing work. It's only a Riptide. You can run the things down in combat, never forget that. So you just need to beat him in combat. So numbers and something to potentially take away his 2-up save, but give yourself plenty of options. Don't do it with just 1 unit, because you just do it with 1 unit and then he's going to kill that unit almost certainly, and then you're not going to be able to assault him, or you're going to be assaulting at less strength. So make sure that whatever he does, you've got the counter for it, to make sure that you can counter punch and take him out. Always do go for him, because they will cause trouble, because they will continually keep jumping around. They will get in your deployment zone, they will kill all your defensive units every single day of the week, and they will cause you havoc end game because of their manoeuvrability. So however much it's a pain, you need to focus on them probably before anything else. There's very little times when you'll come across something else that you need to deal with as much as that. So always focus on these guys. They are going to be your nemesis if you don't. So I hope that helps, both with using these guys and also how to play against them. They are an awesome fun unit. Do not be scared to throw them at your opponent. Do not use them defensively. And never take them without the feel no pain. Well, thanks so much for watching, guys. As I said, thank you for everybody that's watching this road to the Las Vegas Open. I'm thoroughly enjoying bringing this coverage to you. And until the next video, thanks for watching, guys. Bye for now.